it's important to structure everything, I think. Or in the, for example, when we write a text, maybe some technical manual, there is some guideline which is obeyed by everybody. Start every sentence in a new line. Start every second sentence after a comma in a new line, because then you see how long the lines are, and long lines without a comma are bad. So you are automatically get a sort of pre-structured text, which later on, when it's broken, you do not see this anymore. But the other thing is, it's easy to remove half sentences, swap them around, and also it's good for Git, because in Git you do not want long lines for finding errors and for correcting errors. And when I look in our company, the new colleagues, they have an editor. Now we are at the editor. The editor is automatically making blocksatz. So the ASCII input or whatever is already formatted as they see it on the screen. It's not formatted like tech. It's formatted just to fit the screen width. And actually, when I get it to see for corrections, and so then I get a line which is 300 characters to the right. And so what I've learned is, for structure usability, start every sentence in a new line. I don't know who of you is doing similar, or what your habits are.
I don't do that, but I share the complaint about people sending what they think is a nice paragraph, and I see it as one huge line per paragraph, because what they see is all they've got.
Yep.
They think that everyone, it's a particular problem with newsgroup postings, because people think that whatever they see on their screen is what everyone sees.
Right.
It could include colors, it could include formatting, whatever, but the Usenet protocol is actually quite simple, and what actually gets sent between the servers is just basically unformatted ASCII text, and so, and it's something many people don't even understand. They say, well, look, my lines are 70 characters long, but actually there's one line per paragraph. But but for some reason I know people who write like this. They begin every sentence with a new line. That's not something I do.
Okay.
Yeah. The problem with long lines really is affects not only just tech documents, but throughout the entire Unix world. The convention has long been that when you issue an error message, you give a file name, a line number, and the message. And that's perfectly fine when the line is a few characters long, but if it's several thousand characters long and it says there's unbalanced braces on this line, it can be very hard to detect. And tech has this problem because it only gives line numbers. And so I'm always telling students, make sure you keep your lines relatively short. They can run my Tech Pretty printer to turn it into something that's manageable. And that way, when you do get an error message, you have some chance of finding it and fixing it. And if you write very long lines, it's going to be much harder for you. Also, you can't take that document and send it to a line printer, because those lines will be very likely truncated rather than wrapped.
No.
So that's another reason. And then the third reason I argue with people who are authoring is that as the author, most of the time you are looking at the input form of the document, not the typeset form of the document. Therefore, the input needs to be highly readable. And sadly, a lot of people don't understand that important lesson, but it comes from decades of working with computers and text.
Mm.
Well, I think Nelson has put his finger on it. There are some people who have got decades of experience, and there are some people who've got only a few months of experience. And
returning to The comment about
sort
the two these, off the top of my head, I can think of two situations where that would be correct, to have THE space THE. So don't trust the program to always work.
That's why it's important that it be a spelling or doubled word detector, but not corrector.
Right, right.
I mean, everybody who's used web browsers or word processors that correct spelling has discovered many times that the spelling correction that's made is completely wrong.
Yeah.
And so the appropriate approach is to flag it, perhaps with a highlighting or an underline or something like that, or with a buffer that shows a list of lines where it's discovered this problem. But a human has to decide. You know, the English phrase that is, that is not, has doubled words in it, and they're intentional.
I think that experts and beginners have different sets of tools. There should be some commonality, but there's also differences. I wouldn't trust a beginner with power tools.
A few weeks ago, I mentioned this